I'm going to start it early. This is my second attempt at recording this video because the first one, it was Ilias against a Roadhog, and Jesus fucking Christ, I could not focus for the life of me. Even though he looks a lot less militarist. Fuck you. Oh. That's so cool, man. Hopefully I can put a little bit more focus into it this time and actually talk about what I want to talk about. And what I want to talk about is obviously my Overwatch Hero review. And I'm going to start off with lore. I think Doomfist's lore is fantastic. I think he's one of the best characters in terms of lore in the whole game. I think there's obviously places to improve, but just as a baseline, I think that he has exceptional lore, right? The fact that he is this giant hulking man who is also a tactical strategist, an extremely good one at that, I think that it's really sick. It is Doomfist. He has the Doomfist. He punch good, but like he's not just I punch good. He is a genuinely intelligent, striking leader, and that is what a large amount of this character is. Not just the I punch you, you die. It's also, you know, I'm a fucking genius strategist. It kind of reminds me of if any of you have ever read Redwall. It reminds me of the villain from that book. I don't quite remember his name. Give me a second to double check. Clooney the Rat. He reminds me a lot of Clooney the Rat, who's this giant, imposing beast of a monster. But he's also a genius tactician, strategist, and he has a clearly defined goal. Right? For Clooney, it was take over Redwall, hit a shot 10 monster. For Doomfist, he wants to continue war, because in his mind, war is what brings progress to humanity, because progress in Doomfist's eyes is militaristic adaptation and evolution, rather than something like where, you know, many people, including the scientists of the games, might rather see it as sociological development and improvement for base life. That might be what most characters and scientists would think improvement would be, but for Doomfist, it is almost purely militaristic evolution. He is the third Doomfist, right? The first one was the Savior. That was the nice Doomfist, quote-unquote, the good guy Doomfist. The second one was the Scourge. That was the first villainous Doomfist. And the third one is this one, Akande. This is the Overwatch 2 Doomfist. This is the lore Doomfist. This is the guy who is the Doomfist in Overwatch lore. It's Doomfist. The neat part about each Doomfist is that they grow and develop their gauntlets over time, right? The first one had a very simple gauntlet. The second one had a little bit more complex. This one has by far the most complex and individualized gauntlet at that. The first one was a lot more militaristic looking, and the second one even more so. But this third Doomfist, Akande, he is a lot more traditional in his attire and how he, you know, prefers to present himself, and his gauntlet reflects that compared to the other two Doomfists, rather. And it proves that intelligence is behind him, right? Not just, I am big punchy man, I am also fairly smart. And I think that the way his lore works goes really well with that. As the leader of Talon, the main villain organization, he wants to continue the chaos in the world. There's a widow, of course there is. Damn, I cannot talk while playing Doomfist, this shit's hard. Yes, dive her. Eliminate the Widowmaker, yes. Run away from the Malga, who's just going to delete me, yes. One thing that, you know, can be discussed about Overwatch heroes is whether or not they fit that power fantasy. And I think that Overwatch 2 Doomfist fits that power fantasy of what Doomfist is a billion times better, in my opinion, than Overwatch 1 Doomfist did. Overwatch 1 Doomfist felt like a ranged mobility assassin, where he just kind of zoomed around the map and just killed people whenever he got close to them, with one-shot combos, one-shot punches, one-shot everything. Meanwhile, Overwatch 2 Doomfist, like what I just did, you know, but obviously I didn't exactly pop off with it and do it like exactly how you would expect. He's a lot more tactical, right? A lot more... Jesus, fuck. Where was it? Fuck, I can't focus playing Doomfist, man. This might have to be a fucking voiceover. It sells the power fantasy of playing Doomfist really well. You feel like this leader tactician, this brainiac tactician, who is also just like the big guy who punches by going for crazy movement, going for crazy flanks. You have to be smart to play Doomfist, but when you play Doomfist smart, you just kind of do feel like that massive bruiser guy. And he belongs in the tank role. Overwatch 1 Doomfist did not... He felt like a character that should have been designed as a tank, but was just a DPS because they had a better, like a more fun idea for the kit. And it was, admittedly, a much more fun idea for the kit, in my opinion. Right? Like, the combo tank DPS character, like, come the fuck on. He's a fighting game character in a first-person shooter. That is so innovative and has never been done before and will likely never be done again. Now, I'll talk about that a little bit later, but the idea of what Overwatch 1 Doomfist was, very unhealthy for the game, but dear fucking god, was it fun to play, dude. Like, to just be this kind of, you know, combo character, this first-person shooter fighting game character, was just so fucking cool and will never be paralleled in any other character. I can't diag off that. Now, in terms of actual gameplay, I think Modern Doom is a lot of fun to just kind of run around with. But dear god, do I miss Overwatch 1 Doomfist a little bit. Just kind of because, like, I don't have any, like, major balancing ideas like I did for D.Va, where it's like, oh, what if she had longer range, right? And it wasn't just the one bullet that I was talking about. Like, that was just kind of like the first thought I had off the top of my head. But, like, they could just tighten that spread, right? They could tighten that spread and reduce her damage rather than fully radicalizing it as she is just another Orisa or just another Malga, right? Like, that was just, like, the first thing that popped into my head. But Doomfist doesn't need anything like that. I think Doomfist is fantastically designed, and the fact that I have played him in my own tournaments, right? I play in collegiate tournaments, and I've done fantastically on him, proves that he is, like, good but not broken, because I put a lot of hours into Overwatch 1 Doomfist, I put a lot of hours into Overwatch 2 Doomfist as well, and I have the mechanics to pull it off sometimes. I'm not hitting a fucking shot right now. And it requires a lot of thinking. It requires a lot of that, like, kind of hit your shots brain dead mentality, like the big dumb punchy guy that he kind of looks like, as well as that tactical timing ability that, like, even Winston doesn't have to a certain extent, right? Like, Doomfist is so built around timing. Like, Winston can kind of just jump at people and force shit with bubble whenever he kind of wants to, but Doomfist, you cannot do that. With Doomfist, you have to be ready to make a real decision. Like, you have to, it's boom or bust, is what I'm trying to get at here. And the fact that Doomfist is boom or bust is great for the design of the character, in my opinion. Comparatively to, like, other tanks where Winston is still tactical, but not quite Doomfist tactical. I would not want any significant changes. I think that he is absolutely okay with where he is, and any further changes to him will low-key ruin where he's at. And hopefully there's no giant sweeping changes that'll come through anytime soon to really ruin that. Hey, what's this Season 9 patch doing here? No, I'm not editing that on top, just wanted to use it as a reference point. Bro, this fucking Moira will not die! Okay. And supports aren't fucking overpowered. They don't need a nerf, by the way. Supports are totally fair and balanced. I swear to fucking god, I hit every shot on her for like a minute straight, and she just was out healing all of it. Like, what the fuck was that, dude? But I don't think I have a lot else to talk about with Doomfist. He's just a solid A-tier tank all around, right? Lol. He's very well designed. I think his lore is great. I think that he is extremely fun to play. He's not very fun to play against for most people because he does feel very frustrating to just kind of bob in and out and just weave through the battlefield and feel like he never can die. But it's a hell of a lot more healthy for the state of the game than Overwatch 1 Doomfist was, where he just flew around like a madman and one-shot people. And he can kind of perform similar actions, but not to the same level. If I were to change anything, make it so he's less annoying to just never die with his, like, power block in particular, maybe, like, look at something like that. There's changes to be done with Doomfist, I'm sure, but there's way bigger characters to be worried about compared to Doomfist. And the other thing I forgot to mention is that I think Doomfist should have his old moveset to a certain extent passed on to a new character, specifically Seismic Slam and Uppercut. I think those two, just having those two moves on a character, were super fucking fun. And no character in any video game has ever given me the same level of dopamine as Slam Uppercut did. Like, obviously the Rocket Punch was fun, but dear God, remove the Rocket Punch. Maybe make it a dash of some kind instead, but bring back the fighting game-esque weaving DPS character just under a different title. Don't let it be Doomfist. Maybe it's a robot. That would make sense, but just I want that kind of character back in the game. And with the changes coming in Season 9 that I really dislike, I think that Doomfist is going to probably need a lot more adjustment beyond that point. But thank you, everybody, for popping in. It's a lot harder to talk about Doomfist while playing Doomfist than it is to talk about D.Va while playing D.Va, because one of those characters kind of plays themselves while the other one is a little bit harder, a lot bit harder. But next time will be Junker Queen, so look forward to that if you're looking forward to anything at all with my channel. I will have a video up. I believe I'm uploading this one. It's the 9th right now, so I believe this is coming up on the 10th. I have just kind of a blind talk video coming out on the 11th, and I have a project on the work talking about why support actually might be overpowered and actually might be boosting people, so look out for that. Thank you all, and have a wonderful rest of your day.